The Job Jungle gives your students the opportunity to experience a labor market firsthand and ultimately discover how wages are determined. Setup for this activity is fairly simple. You'll need 2 different colors of index cards. In this simulation, we used blue and yellow. You'll need 4 to 6 copies of the employer record and 1 copy of the output and marginal product schedule for every student in the class. Before you begin, conduct a simple discussion about the nature of the supply and demand for labor. Help them recognize that employees are the suppliers of labor, while employers demand labor. We're going to play the Job Jungle today. And for the Job Jungle, we're going to have 3 employers. Jay, raise your hand. Ashley, raise your hand. And Andrea, raise your hand. These are our employers. The rest of you are going to be employees, and you're looking for a job. Spend some time working through the output and marginal product schedule worksheet. You want the students to realize that employees are valuable to employers because they produce. And their value to the employer depends on 2 things. First, how much they add to the production process, and second, how much that product sells for in the marketplace. So everybody has a schedule that looks like this in front of them, and we're going to fill this out because this is useful information for everybody. Blue card workers, you all begin as blue card workers, and a blue card just signifies that you don't have any skills yet, okay? You're unskilled. You're entering the labor force unskilled, entry-level jobs that don't require much training. Later, you might have the opportunity to get some skills, and then you would become a yellow card worker, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a minute. And you can see that for an employer, when they hire the first blue card worker, their total number of kites made is 5. In economics, we use this word marginal, and it means additional. So what's the additional number of kites that you get from hiring that first worker? 5. Okay? And now I want to know, how much would you be willing to pay that first worker that just made 5 kites for you? If kites are going for $1 a piece, how much is this worker worth to you? No more than $5, right? That's how much value they brought to your company. Would you be willing to pay them more than that? No. A profit-maximizing employer would not be willing to offer a wage that is more than the value of the marginal product of the worker. Point out that skilled workers add more to the production process than unskilled workers, so this explains why employers might be willing to pay them more. Okay, so then we also have another schedule for yellow card workers. They are going to do jobs that require a little bit more skill. These 2 charts are independent of each other. The first yellow card worker helps you produce a total of 8 kites. So what's the value of that first yellow card worker to you? $80. And our total, when we add a second yellow card, our total goes from 8 to 14. So what was the additional product, the added product?
6.
The marginal product would be 6 for the second worker. So the value of that worker? 60, and so on. Go ahead and fill that rest of that schedule out. This worksheet provides useful information for both employees and employers in this simulation. But employers will refer to this sheet regularly to determine the profitability of their hiring decisions. So now I'm going to help you understand your role a little bit more. Choose employers and then assign the rest of the students to be employees. If your class is large enough, it's often a good idea to choose a pair of students to play each employer role so that they can help each other with the math. If your class is small, however, you're going to have fewer employers and you can probably help them yourself. You'll need to adjust the number of employers to the size of your class. A good rule of thumb is to have 1 employer for every 5 or 6 employees. This is definitely one of those the more the merrier activities. It works great with large groups, so you may even want to invite another class to participate with you. Employers, you're going to get a sheet that you're going to calculate your profits on. Give each employer an employer profit worksheet and give them some time to work through it while you walk around and answer any questions they might have. So I'm going to go ahead and give the rest of you blue cards. In the meantime, give each employee a blue card. The blue cards signify that they are unskilled workers. Prepare the blue index cards ahead of time by randomly writing $4, $5, or $6 on each one. This represents the money each unskilled worker starts with. Explain that later in the game they will have the opportunity to go to school and become skilled yellow card workers. If you would like to become a yellow card worker,
you need an education.
The university will be open in between rounds, and they can purchase an education for just $25. For smaller classes, you can play the role of the educator, but for larger classes, you may want to assign a student to this role. Simply take their blue cards, subtract the $25, and write the remaining balance on the top of their new yellow card. Only yellow card workers may take skilled yellow card jobs. Explain to the employers that their goal is to make a profit. Profits are equal to the difference between revenues and costs of production. To keep things simple in this activity, there's only one cost of production, and that's labor. And their revenue comes from selling the kites produced. The number of kites they can produce is determined by how many employees they hire. And to keep things simple, we'll assume that they can sell all the kites they produce. The goal of every employee, of course, is to make as much income as possible. So while employers will try to negotiate relatively low wages to maximize their profits, employees will try to negotiate relatively high wages to maximize their income. Both employers and employees can use their profits and income at the end of the game to purchase candy from the classroom store. Before beginning round one, explain to the employers that they may hire as many workers as is profitable for them. Also explain that employees can search for a job from any employer, but they may only get one job per round. Once they have a job, the employer will write the agreed upon wage on their card, initial it, and then they should return to their seat until the round is over.
One more question.
Answer any questions that the students might have, but also assure them that this is a jump in and figure it out activity. They'll learn as they go.
The market is open.
Who wants to go to college?
Round one is almost over.
Allow enough time in round one for most students to get a job, and then call time.
Okay, we'll call this the end of round one. And notice over here, Will is ready to go to school. He's got his backpack on. The university is open. If you have enough
As the
money
employers are calculating their profits, open the university for any students that have at least $25 on their blue cards. Then conduct rounds 2 and 3 the same way.
Okay, kites are $10. The market's open.
You could have like 7 workers here, like you can have like 50 workers here too.
Yes, I'm hiring yellow card workers.
Yellow card workers.
That's the end of round 2. If you would like to go to school, the university is now open. Form a line up here in the front of the classroom. Okay. The market's open. The market is open.
I'll hire yellow 40. Yellow like 7 workers.
You need unskilled workers. $9. We work.
I have children to feed.
What do you want?
I'm going to college.
35. Okay.
Yellow card workers, if you don't have a job, there's one available over here.
Who's at 29?
Round 3 is over. Okay, while our employers are calculating their grand total from all of their rounds, I'm going to ask you some debriefing questions. So what
There are 3 important points to bring out in the debriefing of this activity. First, demand for labor is a derived demand. That means it's derived from the demand for goods and services that the labor produces. Second, the more productive the labor is, the more valuable it is to an employer. In this activity, students became more productive by going to school and acquiring more human capital. And third, a wage is the price for labor. And like other prices, wages are set by the market. They are not set by the employers or by the employees, but rather they are set by the interaction of the employers and the employees, the demand for and supply of labor. Competition among employers prevented them from getting the lowest wages possible, just like competition among the employees prevented them from getting the highest wages possible. There are optional extensions to this activity that you may want to bring back on future dates to stimulate the role of public assistance, economic fluctuations, minimum wage, or even what the entrance of new employers would have on a labor market. Just remember to keep it simple. Avoid teaching too many things with one activity. Decide which lesson you want to teach with the activity and then set out to do it well.